Hi, welcome to my senior capstone. My name is Sophie Cole, and today I'm so excited to present to you all Solace Jewelry. Over the course of this presentation, I will be showing you the three major phases of this project, starting with phase 1 research, phase 2 creation, and ending it all with phase 3 application. Starting with phase 1 and the research that I did for this project, I wanted to cover the importance of this project, some statistics behind it, a competitive set, user personas, design brief, and finish it off with some design guidelines. Starting with the importance of this project, I want to remind you of some people. Who are the women in your life? Whether this be your mother, your sister, your daughter, a wife, fiance, girlfriend, cousins, anyone, because that's who I was thinking of when I started this project. This is my family, and as you can see, there are a lot of women in it. And one night we were sitting around the campfire on a family vacation, and my cousin started telling a story about how she had to be escorted out of Walmart because she felt unsafe going out to her car alone. Little did I know that as the night would wear on, we would all go around this circle telling our own individual stories and experiences of feeling unsafe after dark. The consensus of the group was that we felt uncomfortable in situations such as jogging, parking lots, shopping alone, and being in unfamiliar areas after dark. The feelings surrounding safety included anxiety and fear, causing many of the group to second guess whether it was even worth it to go out. The personal safety devices available were not utilized for a variety of reasons, including comfort, size, look, and accessibility. But we weren't the only ones. On a global scale, almost 1 in 3 women aged 15 and older will experience physical and/or sexual violence at least once in their lifetime. Women prefer products that fall into one of 3 categories: alarm, alert, and arm. When alone at night, 66% of women felt very unsafe. And finally, 98% of women feel there is an immense pressure from external sources to look a certain way. And you may be asking yourself, well, why does it matter that there's a pressure to look a certain way? And let me tell you something. Look good, feel good is real. It holds more weight than what you might expect. Women were not grabbing personal safety devices because they didn't feel good carrying them. They didn't look good carrying them, so therefore they simply were not picking them up. I wanted to further illustrate this and what an experience could look like for an average woman. So here is our lady going to the mall. She shops around, scores some deals, and time is passing. Before she knows it, it's the end of the night and the mall is closing. She goes out to walk to her car, but realizes that she has a long trek back through a dark parking lot to get to her car. She didn't pick up her personal safety devices, so she puts a key between her fingers because that's the only defense that she has to offer herself. She checks over her shoulders and heads out to her car, and thank goodness she makes it out there safely, but the experience was uncomfortable, and she knows that there's a better solution. She didn't carry different personal safety devices because they were bulky, inconvenient, and non-accessible. Looking deeper into this competitive set, we can see that these products fall into 2 major categories, focused on utility or style. Most of them, however, are focused on utility. So looking at the pepper spray, the birdie purse alarm, and the safety keychain, these are all products that would go in a keychain, on a keychain, in your purse, or carry around on your keys. They're bulky and hard to carry, and oftentimes don't even fit in your purse. Moving on to the more stylized options, there are rings on the market. However, they are hard to use, don't have great reviews, or just don't offer enough personal safety. The Invisiwear Smart Jewelry is a great product, however, it's expensive and it's the only product in their lineup right now. After doing a market analysis, I noticed that most of the products fall on the utility side over the style side. So there's a gap in the market regarding a product designed for fashion-forward jewelry that acts as a self-defense tool when necessary. And while looking at this axis, you can see that most of these products fall on the utility side over the style side, and they will straddle defensive over alertive. However, as you can see, I wanted to fall right about here, focusing mainly on style and straddling that line between defensive and alertive. This brought me to my very first design brief for defense jewelry. I wanted to design a stylish, discreet piece of self-defense jewelry for women who prioritize both fashion and personal safety. The jewelry should seamlessly blend aesthetics with functionality, offering a practical yet elegant solution for self-protection in everyday situations. From here, I started creating user personas to better understand my user base. This is the solo jogger. She's an early riser who starts her morning with a jog before work. She enjoys running through the city, parks, and quiet neighborhoods, but is always aware of the risk of being alone. She needs a discreet way to signal for help in case of danger, a defense tool that won't draw attention but is still effective, and a device that won't weigh her down or interfere with her run. Her frustrations includes carrying something that's bulky and feeling unsafe when running alone with no protection. Her quote is, "I love the freedom of running alone, but I never want to feel vulnerable while doing it." As you can see on this axis, she wants to be more prepared, and she also wants to be on that fashion-forward side of the line. She doesn't want to focus on utility. She wants something that can blend in with her everyday outfits. Next, we will look at the night out adventurer. She's a social butterfly who loves hitting the nightlife with her friends. She is cautious but refuses to let fear stop her from enjoying herself. She needs a loud, attention-grabbing alarm to deter threats in a crowded area, quick activation in high-stress situations, a stylish self-defense accessory that complements her outfits, and she's frustrated when she has to carry something that's bulky in her clutch or rely on her phone. She also wants something that's going to be loud in case of an emergency to alert others around her. Her quote is, "I should be able to have fun without constantly worrying about my safety." And as you can see on this axis, she falls much higher on the fashion-forward side. She's going out. She doesn't want something that's going to disrupt her outfit, so she wants something that's going to seamlessly blend in. But she still wants to be prepared. Lastly, we're going to look at the independent protector. She is fiercely independent and has always taken her safety into her own hands. She often works late at her shop and feels uncomfortable walking to her car at night. She needs a compact but effective self-defense weapon, a design that blends into her everyday accessories, and something that's quickly and easy to access in a situation. She's frustrated by relying on her purse or keychain for self-defense weapons. She doesn't like that they're bulky, and she's also frustrated by alarms that cannot be used to physically defend herself. Her quote is, "I don't want to rely on anyone else to protect me. I want to be ready myself." Once again, she falls much further on this prepared side of the axis, but she also still wants to be fashion forward and prioritize her own confidence and beauty. From here, I wanted to inform myself further and look at narrowing my brief, so I created some how might we questions. So how might we design jewelry that seamlessly integrates personal safety features? How might we create a product that helps users feel confident and protected without compromising style? How might we ensure that the product is discreet and comfortable while still being easy to use in emergencies? From there, I was able to nail down some design guidelines that would further constrict my brief. I wanted to focus on aesthetics first and have function embedded. I wanted to be comfortable for every day, empowering, not intimidating, quickly accessible, adaptable for different situations, and also allow for customization. So now let me introduce you to Solace Jewelry. Solace Jewelry is a self-defense brand that aims to empower women through elegant, functional design. The signature piece is a charm necklace with interchangeable charms, each offering a different protective function tailored to individual needs. Blending beauty with utility, Solace gives women a stylish way to feel confident and protected wherever they go. This finally led me into phase 2 of my project, creation. This was the part where I got to start ideating, sketching, foam modeling, going into CAD, and really bringing this project to life. But first, you may be wondering, well, how did you land on a charm necklace? Well, I believe that it really accomplished my design guidelines. Looking at aesthetics first and function embedded, the jewelry should be stylish while ensuring that the self-defense functionality is seamlessly integrated without appearing obvious, and a charm necklace accomplishes that. It needs to be comfortable for every day, and necklaces are comfortable for every day. It needed to be non-intrusive, and it needed to be able to be worn in casual and formal environments. It needs to be empowering and not intimidating, so that the user is not fearing or overly reliant on its defensive function, and the jewelry allows for that. It needs to be quickly accessible. Users should be able to activate or use a self-defense function quickly in high-stress situations. And a charm necklace is right around your neck, so you've got protection at the tip of your fingers. It It needs to be adaptable for different situations. The jewelry should be functional in various environments, so it needs to be good for jogging, when alone at night, or in social settings, and a charm necklace allows for this functionality. Lastly, it needs to be customizable, and I mean customizable as in its defense function, and having different charms allows for different defense functions for different users and their needs. So now that we've established why I want to do a charm necklace, I finally got to get into the sketching. Originally, I wanted to land on this O-ring design for the base of the charm necklace. I liked the look of it, but as I got into my ideation, I realized that I was getting dangerously close to the safety keychain look and feel. All of the charms would go on this one center clasp, and I realized that it would be very hard to grab for these charms in case of an emergency. You could grab for any of them, not knowing which one is actually the defense function. So I shifted and landed on this spring clasp form. I wanted this because it allows for easy customization. Each charm will have a jump ring that is connected to them. That jump ring is then connected to a spring clasp, and the spring clasp allows this charm to be moved from any necklace and placed on any link. So it's very customizable, which I really loved, and it keeps them away from one another so that you know which charm you're grabbing for in case of an emergency. Moving on to my mood board, I really wanted to figure out how I wanted the forms to feel, and this mood board really allowed me to get into it. I wanted to focus on the duality of this project, so looking at the defense and the beauty behind it. So with this duality, I focused on the sun and the moon. I really loved the way that this felt, and I also focused on Greek forms as well as forms from the Renaissance. I really loved the history behind it, and I felt like it was a great way to inform my decision-making process. I want to remind you of the categories that I was designing for. They were alert, alarm, and arm. Starting with alert, I wanted a charm designed to instantly send a discreet alert and your location to a trusted contact when activated. I went straight into ideation sketching on a silent alarm and almost immediately landed on this shield design. I loved the symbolism behind it as well as the simple charm look. Originally, I wanted a little bit more of a complicated design, focusing on that Greek inspiration as I previously mentioned, but as I got into the design process, I really liked a little bit more of a simple look. Moving into foam, I had to go and do this to figure out what size I was looking at. I knew that the technology could fit into about the size of a quarter, so that's the constraint I held myself to when making this charm. I didn't want to go much bigger because any bigger than that and it started to feel a bit obtrusive. So this is how I figured out the size. I then took that information and went into CAD. So through SolidWorks, I was able to start giving this much more detail, and really it started coming to life. Next, I went into prototyping. So through CAD, I was then able to 3D print this. And from there, I sanded, primed, and finally painted this appearance model. So with that, I would like to introduce to you the Luma Shield Silent Alarm. This charm features a shield-like design, triple-click the center button for activation, and includes a jump ring and spring clasp for customization. Once again, looking at the activation, you click 1, 2, 3 times on that center button and a distress call will be put out to your designated contacts. This could include 911, a spouse, parents, or really anyone who you trust to have your contact information in an emergency. Next, I focused on alarm. I wanted a charm designed to be a discreet yet powerful personal alarm that emits a piercing screech to alert others and deter threats. I once again went into sketching and immediately landed on this lock design. I wanted to focus on the mechanism behind this, and this was very important to me because through ideation, I wanted something that would stay on your necklace when activated. So with this latching mechanism, I could control the height at which the latch would come off. So as you pull down, the latch will release and the alarm will come off. However, I specifically designed it so that when it is going off, the latch does not fully come off so that the lock is not coming off of the necklace. And this was very important because I didn't want the charm to be off somewhere while you were in a high stress situation. It needed to stay around your neck. Once again, moving on to foam modeling, I immediately realized that what I had drawn up was way too big, so I had to go back to the drawing boards. I once again gave myself the constraint of about the size of a quarter, and that fit much better on the necklace. From there, I was given the dimensions to go into CAD and start building out this latch mechanism and this tension lock. Then I was able to further prototype by 3D printing, once again sanding, priming, and painting. And finally, I would like to introduce to you all the Nova Lock. The Nova Lock has a spring clasp for customization, pull down lock for activation, and the sound will emit from the keyhole. Here is the interior activation. As you can see, there is a compartment for the technology to be housed, and zooming in on that latch, you can see that there is a pin. As this pin is pulled up on, the interior pin will release from its tension lock and the charm will activate, emitting a piercing alarm. Putting that top back on, once again, as we pull down on the lock, the latch comes up, the pin is pulled, and the sound will emit. And as you can see from this rendering, the latch does not come completely undone so that it has no risk of falling off of your necklace. This is great for parking lots, crowded spaces, or anywhere where you want to get people's attention close to you. Lastly, I wanted to focus on how I might arm my users. So this charm conceals a hidden blade, offering a discreet yet powerful means of self-defense. Through ideation sketching, I knew that I needed a form that was long and slender to conceal this blade, but I also needed something that my users could grab onto to grasp in case of an emergency for activation. I immediately landed on this fish design, which I really love. Moving on once again to foam modeling, I once again ran into the problem of my idea being too big. I really had to slim this fish down so that it wouldn't be obtrusive on your necklace. Finally, I got it sanded and shaped into the shape that I desired, and from there I was informed to move on to CAD. In this, I went into Nomad Sculpt. Nomad Sculpt, it allowed me to get those details that I wanted that SolidWorks wasn't quite capable of. Because this was a much more organic form, I wanted those details to be included. Once again, I went through the process of printing, sanding, priming, and painting my product. And with that, I would like to introduce the NiaBlade necklace knife. This charm, once again, will have a spring clasp for customization, a concealed blade, and tension lock activation. Taking a deeper look at how this is activated, you will place your fingers right about here, pulling the charm down while grasping between the tail and hind fins to release the blade. So as you pull down, the knife will release itself from its tension lock, allowing its users to physically defend themselves. This would be great when jogging, when out in parking lots, or really anywhere that you find yourself needing a pocket knife, which for me is much more often than I ever really expected. Now that we've gone over that, I'd like to finish up with phase 3, application. This will be taking a second look at our user personas, some renderings that go along with those, one last look at how that storyboard has changed, and finally ending with the impact. This is the solo jogger, reminding you of her needs. She needs a discreet way to signal for help in case of danger, a defense tool that won't draw attention but is still effective, a device that won't weigh her down or interfere with her run. Her preferred charm is the Luma Shield, a charm that discreetly alerts emergency contacts or authorities with her location when activated. Here is the charm that she would design for herself with this beautiful 4-leaf clover and medallion on its sides. And here's what it would look like out of the box. Moving on to the night out adventurer, she needs a loud, attention-grabbing alarm to deter threats in a crowded area. She needs something that is quickly activated in high-stress situations and a stylish self-defense accessory that complements her outfits. Her preferred charm is the Nova Lock, a charm that emits a piercing noise to scare off potential attackers and alert bystanders. Here is the necklace that she would create for herself with this beautiful pink charm that matches her outfit. She knows that with this necklace on, she can own the night and not fear it. Lastly, taking a second look at the Independent Protector, she needed a compact but effective self-defense weapon and a design that blends into her everyday accessories that is quickly and easy to access for defense tools. Her preferred charm is the NiaBlade, a charm with a small but sharp blade stylishly concealed for close-range self-defense. Here is the necklace that she would design for herself, featuring these two beautiful hearts. She knows that she can defend herself while looking stylish in case of an emergency. Now, let's take a second look at how this storyboard has changed. As the woman walks into the mall, time is still passing, but she doesn't feel afraid. She knows that as she walks back out to her car in that dark parking lot, she's got defense at her fingertips. She still checks over her shoulder, but this time feels confident walking out to her car. Lastly, I wanted to go over the impact of this project. Personally, this project gave me the opportunity to work on a project that I'm very passionate about, combining a love for jewelry with functionality that can give women a sense of safety. Professionally, by working on this project, I had the opportunity to possibly pursue a career in jewelry design post-graduation. It also served as an opportunity to work with professionals within the industry to gain a better understanding of the field. Looking at the industry, this product has the potential to disrupt the market, in my opinion. Currently, there are very few products designed for function and aesthetic. Lastly, looking at the market, jewelry designed for women's self-defense allows for women to feel safer when performing everyday activities and gives their loved ones peace of mind knowing that they're prepared in case of tragedy, which ultimately was all I could have asked for when designing this project. Knowing that the women in your life are protected and that the women in my life are protected is all I could have asked for. Thank you so much to my professors, friends, and classmates for making this all possible, and have a good night.